Konnichiwa, Kawaii Critic here to review Preacher Season 2, Episode 3, Damsels. Now, before I get into the episode, I just want to make a quick little announcement that's saying that since Preacher is coming out what appears to be on Mondays, I might not be able to review every episode on the following day. Or review every episode. I might miss a few episodes here and there, depending on my work schedule. So there is that, unfortunately. I really wanted to review every episode of Preacher 2, but that might not be the case. But I'm going to try. If I do have work on a Monday, and I happen to miss Preacher on that day, I'll try to watch it another day and try to get a review in. But that means that the review won't be on a Tuesday. So there's that. Anyways, getting into the episode, we start off with Eugene being all normal, and we see him visiting this girl. I believed her name was Trissa, and she says that she's gonna kill herself. And then he starts reading her note, and then he says a few things, but one of the things that I caught was he said, when God closes a door, he opens a window. So he gives people opportunities, something like of that nature. So after she calms down and puts down her gun, he decides that he's going to go in for this kiss. And after that, she's actually kind of disgusted by it, and then she ends up shooting herself. So after that moment, he starts to relive this day after all the other sequences that happened within that day happen. He starts to relive that day over and over again, and that is his personal hell. So we see him then wake up in this hell cell, this sort of gray hell cell. Anyways, we see Tulip, Jesse, and Cassidy in the car. They're talking about how Tulip hates jazz and how she wants to go to New Mexico instead, but Jesse's still set on New Orleans. So they end up in New Orleans, and they end up in this strange club where they end up wanting to see God, and they get led to the back area, and they're led to this old man who shows them this big dog and this lady, and then they talk about all these sexual offers and fetishes and whatnot, and it ends up not being God. Anyways, after they leave, Tulip brings up the whole being married thing again and whether or not she wanted to actually do it, so she's still sort of mixed about what she actually wants. Cassidy follows her, and meanwhile, Jesse's talking to some guy mocking him, and then he ends up hitting him with this glass. So Tulip meets this old lady that recognizes her, and she didn't want any of that. Meanwhile, they end up keep going. Cassidy brings her to this place where they meet this French guy. There are no subtitles, so I don't know whatever he said. I don't know any of that. Anyway, the guy who Jesse hit tried to follow him into the next club, but completely misses Jesse as he tries to take a swing at him. So Cassidy talks to the French guy again, and Tulip then brings up Victor when they're talking about the whole drama stuff of all that. And Cassidy, of course, wants the truth. Meanwhile, while that's happening, Jesse's getting this montage of looking for God, and he finally gets a tip after searching several bars, and he gets this tip about this woman named Laura, and he goes to see her sing, and then she starts to hit on this guy, but she asks him this question, and when he supposedly gets it wrong, he ends up not getting her. So she ends up talking with Jesse, and he wants to talk about God and whatnot. And after that little play, I guess she put off, she ends up getting outside and then gets robbed by these guys in white. And we get our first fighting sequence in this season. A little short, but it's cool. we get to see some fighting take place. So they get to her place, and then after she's saved, and she wants to know how Jesse did all that stuff, and he essentially gives her all the knowledge and uses the power on her. Surprised that we didn't see a little last hint of the Saint Killer picking up on that, but I'm sure that will be coming up soon. So anyways, she wants to head out, so she does. So she gets this little quick kiss on him. And then we see Jesse look and stop at this weird angel-looking banner, and it seems to have him fixated for a bit, and I'm sure that will play an important role later on. We have Tulip then wanting to talk to Jesse about everything, but not really getting out much. Then we cut back to Eugene waiting in the cell, and the main door of his cell opens, and he sees this guy who appears to look like Hitler or something or other, and we see all these other doors open as well. Then we see Laura was actually this woman who's in a wig, and then she was actually with the guys in the white, and we cut to this guy named Her Star, this guy with one white eye, who seems to have all these folders on a bunch of people or something or other. Meanwhile, Preacher's listening to the jazz with this other guy, and the other guy tells Jesse that this is the end of the world, and that's why the music in itself sounds a bit distorted and whatnot. So we then cut to Tulip, who's at this, this shop, this little store for like being able to buy drugs or something, or buy a smoke or cigarette, buy something of that nature. She goes to go get that, and she wastes a lot of money to get less money to put it in the machine. And while that's happening, and while she's waiting, we see all these men come up behind her, and that is how the episode ends. So we're going to get a bit more of who this Victor guy is probably next time. We'll see if the Saint Killer will also be trudging toward New Orleans slowly but surely. It seems like Laura's going to play a bigger role with these white guys that were after her, but this is all a ploy, so we'll see how that all comes to terms. The one thing I do hope that they solve soon is this whole trifecta relationship between Jesse, Tulip, and Cassidy. I hope that they get that out of the way pretty quickly. That's the only thing I feel like one flaw that I find has been constant since the opening of this season. So I really do hope that they get that out of the way pretty quickly and are just able to travel with each other and just move on from that. But it seemed like New Orleans brought out the worst in Tulip. She wanted none of that. So we'll see where that goes. As far as everything else, pretty good fighting scene. Weird sexual fetish stuff going on in this episode, but there's like this weird hint with the this dog person being like sentient or something. Like they showed like a little 2-second thing of its black eye, and then it was like, oh, maybe it is something bigger than we thought. Playing with expectations on that level at the very least. So there's that much. Anyways, that is my review of this episode, and if you enjoyed it, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, everyone, bye!